Hey, this is Wileen Benson, and you are on the Daily Gratitude Call, where we start every day in gratitude. Gratitude is the highest energy state that we can be in. It creates a frequency of positive vibration that attracts positive experiences into our lives. Hey everybody, this is Wileen Benson. This is our Daily Gratitude Call. Thank you for joining our call today. Look forward to what we get to discover as we jump into our 90-second private silent meditation. Several of the things that were said as we were just doing our rounds of gratitude to kind of get warmed up, several people mentioned things about change and like a clean slate, having just new space to create, those types of things. And the words that came to me is new perspective on old patterns. New perspective on old patterns. So we have things that we do, on a daily basis, but when we kind of wipe the slate clean, it's like stepping into something new. So I'm going to set the timer for 90 seconds. We're going to do a private silent meditation on gratitude for new perspective on old patterns, and we'll see what inspired thoughts come to you. Begin. All right. It's interesting. There was one specific pattern that hasn't been working for me lately. Seems like I keep pushing it away, but it still keeps coming back. And I, make a conscious choice to change things, and it just keeps coming back. And I realize that I am a new person. I'm a new person because I've made some changes within my life, and these old patterns are no longer working for me, and I just keep pushing them away. But the fact is, this pattern, there's a new way for the pattern to be. It's something that it's a situation that needs to continue, but the way that I've been handling it needs to change. And I realized that anytime we change, when we create a new belief for ourselves, we're stepping into being a new person. So pretty much everything in our environment must change to align with the new person that we've become. So that's my new perspective on this old pattern, is that I'm a new person, and therefore I need to I use the word attack, and that word just keeps coming to me. So I'm going to use it because that's the word that keeps coming to me. I need to attack problems or situations in a new way based on the new person that I am, instead of trying to fit my old patterns into my new person that I've become. Who else has something they would like to share?
I like to share.
Hey, thanks, Phil.
I think for the most part, and I'm sure this is true, but our patterns are like they're good. Most everything we do is good, but sometimes there's those patterns that are destructive, or a pattern that just doesn't work. It just doesn't just serve us well. And it can seem like there's just no way out sometimes. It seems like we relax and we go into that pattern. But then this is when an outside perspective really can help us. And we can get that from a friend, or from a book, or from something that we hear, something that we see. Sometimes we even leave where we are and go and to the mountain and see something different than what we saw before, and that gives us a new us, a new grow, so we can grow, and then we can see the pattern for what it is and see different options for how we could change that pattern. And so anyway, I just thought perspective is very interesting, because you can get it from the outside. That's I think for me the biggest source is on the outside, to connect with something that's helped me see it differently.
Well, thank you. I have to share this because this is just like becoming really clear to me. This is something that Laura and I was with a friend over the weekend up in Chicago, and we had a discussion about like some of the things that are happening in our world today with different racial separation. And we were having the discussion about black and white. And I think I think it was you, Phil, actually, that mentioned something about black and white in our rounds of discussion, our rounds of gratitude before we started. I can't remember exactly what you said, but that, let's see, what did you say? Things are never black and white. That's what you said. And we were having that talk about just the colors of black and white and the energy underneath the colors. And like when we think of dark energy, light energy, that's like a black and white. And it's like there's a perception that black is bad and white is good. And you think about, the things that people are claiming right now in our world about racial, like inequality or something like that. We really create everything in our environment. And if we see things as black and white, if it's like, this is good, this is bad, or there are only two choices and, one is good, one is bad, then basically we're creating that in our environment, that one is good, what is bad, that there are only two, which is absolutely ludicrous, because none of us is like pure anything. And I just, I love this idea of allowing so many options, so many possibilities, and that, and realizing that some patterns that we have are really destructive. And if we can allow lots of possibilities, like infinite possibilities, then there is no like right, wrong, good, bad, to only one choice that's good or whatever. Anyway, I just had to share that, because that just was adding new layers to this idea that we create everything in our world. And even this, nationwide unrest, that if we believe that one is good, one is bad, there's only, two choices, whatever, we could actually be creating and perpetuating this, this segregation, this separation.
Can I add
yeah, go ahead, Phil. And
that is that when I'm stuck, it's because I only see two choices.
Yeah. And seriously, if one's good, one's bad, we have no choice. It's like, do you want to jump off the cliff, or do you want to stay on the cliff? Well, it could be that, there are other options. Like I could build a bridge. I could step away from the cliff. I could go the other direction. There might be a way around the gorge, whatever. But if you only see two choices, it's like, well, I have to just stand here because I don't want to jump off. Yeah, totally. Thank you. Robert.
Well, thank you for the opportunity. So in the electrical trade, there's generally black and white. You buy a wire, Romex, which is your house wiring, and there's a black line and a white line. And traditionally, black has been negative, white is positive, yet one does not work solely on its own. And in fact, when you have to use a 220, which is two negatives, to gain a higher voltage, you don't even need the white. You only need two negatives, and such could be a black and a red line in order to gain higher power. So they really work in tandem with one another, because there has to be, I don't know why the word yin and yang come together, but just because a line is coded black doesn't mean it's negative, nor is white just because it's coded as white meaning positive. They are both extremely important to gain energy and harness energy as we use it. So it's just a different perspective.
Yeah, I mean, this is new perspective on old patterns, right? So that's perfect.
Yeah.
And really, that is what God really intended, is for us all to work together to create the highest good, to be able to empower each other. And that's a perfect example. Thank you, Robert.
Yeah.
Deepti, you had something.
Yes, so what came to me while the 90-second meditation we did is, so just imagine a car and there's lots of snow on it, and you need to clear the snow to see the road ahead of you. So what happens with each one of us is we are so pushed up with limiting beliefs that we cannot realize a true potential, or we cannot see that. So you used the word clean slate. So we gotta keep wiping our old patterns to become this superhuman with superpowers. One is that, and the other thing is perspective. We're talking about perspective. So when you use the word, so if like XYZ situation is there, so that situation may probably really really make me low, but for you that same situation, you are like, oh, this is not a problem. So it's the perspective difference that you are on a higher life condition wherein you don't see the things the way I do. So it may not be a problem for you, but like the smallest of things may still be a problem for me, because I am just stuck on things, or just I see them in a one streamlined way. Yeah.
Awesome. Totally. That's totally true, that, some people might see something as a struggle, where another person who's maybe been down that road before or had an experience that was similar will look at, oh, it's not a problem. And I think that's part of that new perspective on old patterns. When we can wipe a clean slate after we've experienced something, wipe a clean slate and say, okay, we're starting fresh. We've got some new information moving forward, and wiping those limiting beliefs away based on the new information that we're gaining. When we do our permission process, we're basically wiping away any limiting beliefs that would stop us from actually seeing something as easy, allowing us to walk down that road and have it be easy. Thank you. I appreciate that, Deepti. Let's see, we've had several new people join, so I'm just going to just reiterate our subject for today: gratitude for new perspective on old patterns. Any last thoughts? Maybe time for one more thought before we shift to our permission process. Melinda.
So thank you everyone for your shares. And Robert, I don't know why, but you're just bringing a smile to my face today. And I just love everything that you're talking about. My husband's an electrician, so it's just really clicking for me what you said, and I love it. What I wrote was, when we are young, about teens and on through our awakening, right? Quote, awakening, we may feel this tug between I know everything and I'm just not good enough. And when we come to this awakening, or this black and white perspectives of seeing the limiting beliefs like you're teaching us, Wileen, and coming to these new beliefs, and how important seeing the limiting beliefs are in that growth, right? We come to this awakening or new perspective, and we realize, or can come to realize, that those events have all been things that have built this new person that I am, or that I have come to earth to become.
Wow, beautiful. Yeah, I love that. And again, it's like only two choices. I know everything, or I'm not good enough. That's absolutely not true. Neither one of those is true. There's always more to learn, and we are good enough. And especially, as we bring Christ into the picture, we know we are good enough. I love that idea of how important our limiting beliefs are in our awakening. And that's what I've experienced when I work with my clients, is an awakening as they are discovering the root cause of these limiting beliefs. It's like, I never saw that before. It's like this awakening, and there's so much gratitude with the past experiences that have created the limiting beliefs, because now it's been made so clear, and we can move forward so much more efficiently and quickly, having this new perspective on these old limiting beliefs. Thank you. Looks like we maybe have a couple more thoughts to be shared. Tyree and then Deepti.
I just wanted to add that there, for the new perspective to really take hold, it's very helpful to have that internal motivation, so that we're not just like, oh, there's a new option, but we have no desire to act upon it. But when we have that internal motivation, by really centering ourselves on Christ and seeing there is a better way, and having hope in that better way, we have that internal motivation, and we have that desire to be obedient to his plan, because we know it's a better way.
I love that. Being centered on Christ is like the vision of the bigger plan opens up to us, and there is just this drive that happens within us to be part of that bigger plan, something bigger than ourselves. Love that. Thank you. Deepti, did you have something?
Yes, just one last quick thought is, every time I catch myself having a limiting belief hit my head, what I do is, I tell myself, oh, I did that again. So what is the new belief I would like to believe instead? So then I anchor in my new belief.
You anchor in your new belief?
Yeah. So if I catch myself saying, or worrying about something, then I was like, oh, how else was, like, how do I ideally want that situation to be? So what is it that I would like to believe instead? So I use this one statement and then bring in my new belief.
Beautiful.
If I catch myself into negative thinking or something like that.
Right. I love that. So we do the permission process, which is basically what you're saying, is noticing that limiting belief and then say, oh, what do I want to believe instead? We examine the cost in between, but that's a quick, just in the moment, immediate response. If you can just kind of remember that, be conscious of, those of your limiting beliefs that are coming up. And then that question is really powerful to be able to make that change immediately, because we know those limiting beliefs aren't going to serve us. So I love that. Thanks. That's a really great new pattern, right? This is new perspective on old patterns. This is a new pattern that we can put into place. Thank you. Let's go ahead and take a deep breath. And just really get centered into allowing your highest source of information to be open that communication channel, feeling eyes on Christ and allowing him to be, allowing his energy, his power, his love, his charity, everything to come within you, and connecting that column of light to heaven so we can receive inspiration from God, and having the Holy Spirit with us to recognize truth, just bringing all of the wonderful gifts that we've been given, that the earth was created with, and all the energetic tools that we have available to us to be centered, to know not just right and wrong, but all the options, just the perspective of everything available to us. Take another deep breath. Allow yourself to become fully grounded, heaven and earth, and with being one with God. And be aware right now of an old pattern that has maybe served you in the past. There was possibly a system that was set in place that kept you safe at one time, but now that pattern is maybe continuing to show up for you, and it doesn't seem to be working. And instead of like giving you new information that is helpful, or giving you a stable place to be so that you can make new decisions, that it's actually throwing you off center. It's taking you out of that space of calm and peace and inviting more of the storm to be a part of your life. So just be aware of what that pattern is. Just listen intuitively to what you get to address today, what pattern you get to change today. Take one more deep breath. And as you're becoming more clear on what this pattern is that you get to change, what is the limiting belief that's showing up for you? Before we even go into the process of changing this pattern, what is the limiting belief that is causing fear, some sort of fear inside of you, a low vibration emotion? And is that low vibration emotion, is that fear going to serve you? Is it going to help you to move forward and change, or is it going to cause resistance? So just making the choice right now, do I want to be in fear or do I want to be in faith? And if you are wanting to be in faith, then this is an opportunity right now to give yourself permission to change that limiting belief. Because if you keep that limiting belief, it's going to continue to cause fear. So if you want to step out of fear and step into faith, we need to give yourself permission to choose a new belief. What do you want to believe instead? And if you're ready to give yourself permission to choose that new belief, say yes.
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 Awesome. Awesome. And so what are those new beliefs? What do you want to believe instead? What do you choose to believe instead? What new beliefs will serve you better? What new beliefs will allow you to step into faith instead of fear? And use those limiting beliefs, the limiting belief that you came up with, as a catalyst, that this is part of your awakening process, as has been mentioned, and expressing gratitude for that limiting belief for giving you the words to change. And so, maybe it's the easy, simple process of just crossing out the word don't, or crossing out the word not, or taking an opposite word. If the word was fear, maybe the new word is courage, or whatever, taking an opposite opposite on the energetic scale of a word, and just easily and quickly change those limiting beliefs into new beliefs. 2 or 3 new beliefs that will support you, will take the place of that old limiting belief. And then going back to that pattern, I invite you to compare these new beliefs. This is a new perspective on an old pattern, and What are you noticing? Just write down any new thoughts that are coming to your new perspective, this awakening that's happened. And look in the broad spectrum of things. Maybe your old pattern was about money, and see how these new beliefs are actually opening up new patterns or new perspective on old patterns in other areas too, possibly relationships or possibly your health. That use these words, the universe uses these words in all different areas of your life, so you can begin seeing how these words have been affecting and how they will affect, these new beliefs will affect all areas of your life. See the broad view and even rise above your life, and how do these new beliefs actually help in God's greater plan. Look at this from an even higher perspective. Go to heaven and look down and feel the power of these new beliefs, and how not only can they change your life and your patterns, but like I mentioned with the thought of black and white and how we are creating our own world right now, that how will this create change in the world? How will, if I make a change in this and have a new perspective in my particular problem, how does that also affect and change my environment on a broader scale, based on looking things from a world perspective like God sees? What effect can my new beliefs have on bringing peace and calm to the storm? One more deep breath. And I just feel to invite all of us to really express gratitude, feel gratitude, and express it to to God, and for all of these powerful tools that we have to be able to not only change our own limiting beliefs into new beliefs, that we can change our person inside and the way that we do life, but because of our change, changing those limiting beliefs to new beliefs, that they can have a bigger perspective, is that they can have changes on our family patterns, they can have change on our community patterns, they can have change on the world and the patterns that show up in the world based on our new beliefs, as far-reaching as the entire world. In a moment, I'm going to be opening up for some shares. We have time for 1 or 2 shares. And as you're gathering your thoughts, I want to also just invite all of you to go to my calendar and schedule a 15-minute call with me. If there's anybody that's struggling with this or just feels like they need some extra support, would love to have a 15-minute call with you. And all you have to do is just go to askwylene.com, and that will take you to my calendar, and you can schedule that 15-minute call. It's a free call, askwylene.com. Robert, you have something?
Yes. So I connected with what you're saying when it came to building your own world and how invaluable that is. I found myself as a little boy even at 5 years old, building my world, because for my own survival, and I realized, year after year after year of building that world within me, how it manifested itself into a world I had to live in. And as I look back from years of creating this world within me, it translated in different ways, but it came to pass in the world I had to live in. And so, yeah, building a world is within yourself. Maybe it brings a different perspective of Wayne's world versus Robert's world, but it was a necessity to survive.
Mm-hmm. I want to talk about that a little bit, because our limiting beliefs actually, sometimes they feel really positive. Like I can take care of myself, can sound like, or I take care of me, or whatever might sound really positive, but at the same time, it's very lonely, to believe that you have to take care of yourself. I mean, that's just an example. These limiting beliefs that we create, that we build within ourselves to survive. I'm going to use that word survive, like you said, survival, because that's what they are. It gets us just to survival. And what the new beliefs, that when we start looking at things from a different perspective, these old patterns at different perspective, the new beliefs begin to blossom beyond survival into growth and possibilities. So limiting beliefs help us to survive, but that's all that they can do. They can only get us to a point of survival, and that's not really any fun either. It's better than dying, but it's not the best. It's not the highest that we can be. And these new beliefs can actually get us into growth and possibilities, so that survival is just a given. It's like, why would I even worry about that? That's just like, I am surviving. I'm more than surviving. I'm growing in possibilities.
I think what you're saying is true. And I, while you're talking, I was thinking and listening, so that I wasn't waiting for you to finish talking, because I was processing what you're saying. And one of the first things I realized that I referred to possessions, but one of the first things I remember my world was filled with was with nice people. And that isn't a limiting belief. That is a huge belief. So
that's awesome. My world is filled with nice people. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that.
Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. I know we are at the end of our time, but is there one other person that feels really inspired to share today?
Hello.
DT?
So I'll just hop in. So there's one article when you post this replay link on the Facebook. I will post one article which says oneness of life with oneness of environment, and how you change and the whole world around you changes with you. What we keep doing is we keep blaming the circumstances, we keep blaming people. But if you really go inside of you and change you, the whole world around you changes with you. But I have an article on this same topic. I'll post it right after this link, after you put the replay link.
Awesome. That's perfect. Thank you so much, Deepti. Yeah. And that just really anchors in everything that we've kind of the culmination of what we've discussed today, that, we are one with our environment. We are one with everybody on this planet. We are all children of God. We are one. We are equal. And when we begin to believe that, then really, truly on, really with charity in our hearts, then everything that we do, we know affects everyone and everything around us. And so how important it is for us to experience this awakening and get change our limiting beliefs into new beliefs that are going to not only serve us, but will serve the whole world. And I know that those of you who are here listening, you all have that possibility. We all have that power within us to do that. So thank you so much for everything that has been shared. We'll look forward to being back together tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. Mountain Time. And love you guys. Thank you.
I love these calls. Thank you.
Thank you.
Love you guys. Bye.
Hey, thanks so much for listening. And I encourage you to tune in every day to the Daily Gratitude Call. And the Daily Gratitude Call happens live every weekday morning. I'd love to have you join. So to find out how to join live, go to my website, WileenBenson.com. Thanks for tuning in.